1, 2, 3.
Let's get TI5 underway. The first game here on the main stage.
Defending champions defeated in the first stage of the elimination matches.
It's a complete turn of the offense. It is over. They have absolutely been crushed. Sacred College deeply have eliminated the fan favorites of this tournament. AG are your TI5 champions.
Hello everyone and welcome to theScore eSports' post-TI5 wrap-up show. My name is Matt Demers and with me are three of our Dota experts from theScore's newsroom. I'm here with Dennis Gonzalez, Connor Dunn, Annabelle Fisher. We are here to break down possibly one of the best tournaments of this year. And let's start with that final game. I mean, Evil Geniuses knocked down the losers bracket by CDEC. This is their major rematch. They come and clutch it 3-1. I just wanted to ask, what did you think, Dennis, were the hero of that last series?
I think the hero of that last series was obviously the Gyrocopter. It was something that CDEC ran a lot on aggressive, and it was something that EG recognized and denied every single game. Fear was on that hero for 4 of the 4 games, and he just killed it.
Obviously, like, Gyrocopter is something that it's almost like a neutral pick this tournament. We're seeing it a lot from just every single team. What do you think something that's strong about that hero that kind of worms its way into every single game? Not every single game, but like most games, let's put it that way.
Well, the common trait for a carry is that it scales better in the late game and is poor in the early game, but that's not the case for Gyrocopter. He has an early game spike with his rocket barrage, and he has a crazy fast farming mechanic with his flat cannon.
But what about Sammy Ellis' Storm Spirit? I mean, that guy plays an amazing Storm Spirit.
Okay.
Back in DAC, we saw this young player, just his first Premier tournament on Evil Geniuses. They win, what, $1.6 million in that grand finals?
A lot of money.
A lot of money. Actually, not as much as they just won now.
Obviously.
But, but the difference we saw in his Storm Spirit, especially in that game 1. Game 4, he started to be a bit more aggressive, like back in his previous games in DAC. But that game 1, you could see that he's really matured as a player. Instead of just jumping in, as most Storms do, all they have on their mind is aggression. You could see a bit more cautious plays that and more focused on saving his team, like that highlight where he managed to save Universe and actually pick up a double kill as well. So I think Storm Spirit was definitely Samil's shining moment.
We saw CDEC beat EG earlier in the tournament, send them to the lower bracket. What's different about the EG that just beat them and the EG that lost before?
Well, I think it all comes down to PPD and studying those games, because they got destroyed in the upper bracket finals. They got 2-0'd. They GG'd after 20 minutes. It was not looking good. And honestly, I was thinking CDEC was going to win TI easily with a 3-0 victory. But PPD proved me wrong with studying those games afterwards and making sure not only preparing a proper draft with what you said about Gyrocopter, but also understanding their movements throughout the game. CDEC always smokes up. They always roam into the jungle. They always go top lane for a gank, and Evil Geniuses was always prepared for that. They were always moving around and avoiding those ganks, and I think that was the key factor, and they proved it.
Annabelle, what's something that you found like awesome about that final game?
I was super impressed by the support play on EG, and especially when EG knew that CDEC were in.
That's the thing.
I keep catching myself.
CDEC.
When CDEC were doing Roshan, and EG perfectly timed the Ice Blast from PPD's Ancient Apparition and the Echo Slam. I believe that was Universe's Earthshaker.
Yes.
And it just, there wasn't anything they could do. 4 heroes just melted in seconds. They couldn't get their BKBs off. It was simultaneous.
That was something that we just threw our hands up in here in the office, because like mine was a little bit blown, let's put it that way.